that show on MTV that was like senior pranks?
It's the family reunion.
No,
Not that one?
no.
Not that? Okay.
Not Wild 'N Out.
I feel like I have a vague...
It was called
yes, I know what you're talking about. I was just talking to Mom about this.
Something, and they go, stories, pranks, and controversies.
Yes.
What was it called?
I don't remember.
Are you the actual guy who does the...
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
This summer.
Yeah, this summer.
What is that guy? Like,
I don't know.
he's...
Probably makes lots of money.
The EA Sports guy.
It's in
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Like, how much did he make for that phrase? But I was thinking about that show because I remember they would, interview these students or whatever the prompt of the show was. I don't even know.
Start something really stupid. Keep going.
Okay. And they would talk about like sneaking into their school at night.
Yeah.
And it would like show them passing a pool like next to the library, and you're like, what?
That does seem
That's
odd.
so strange.
That seems
like,
odd.
It'd be
it's
weird
like a
smelling
hotel.
chlorine in
Yeah,
your
it's
high
like
school. Yeah.
Going into it, like anytime I smell a pool, I think of a hotel because that's the only time I'm like,
Yeah.
I've been in pools.
Like indoor.
Yeah.
Like indoor and chlorine.
That's
like
just immediately where my
hotel.
brain goes to is like, oh, it's a hotel. Like,
Yeah.
That's a lame high school stories.
high school stories, scandals, pranks, and controversies.
Yeah, we never had good
There was
high school
another-
pranks. I tried to sell the school one time, and everyone's like, "You can't put a for sale sign in front of the school. It's not right." I'm like, "We're not actually selling the school."
It's a really good prank.
If
That-
I know,
that's
right?
so harmless.
If someone, because like I put the sign up, and then all the girls started like making all these other signs that didn't tell us about, and they started putting up signs like, "This is just a senior prank. This is not real." And I'm like, "What do you do?" If anyone even called asking to literally buy the school, we would tell them no, it's a prank.
Yeah.
No one's gonna call.
That school's for sale.
What are we
By
doing?
the way, our school was on like a.
It was on a highway.
No-
No one's buying that school,
The number is like this big, and they're 65 mile an hour. Like, call that number.
dude.
And, like, give me a break.
Dude, I was
Who's the
so
person
annoyed.
who like, what is that couple that's driving past that they're like,
No,
or like
our
they're-
dream.
Finally,
Yeah, they're
it's finally for sale.
antiquing that weekend, and they're like, did you see that sign?
Our dreams have
By
come
Kanye,
true.
he'd probably buy it, make his own school.
Yeah, that's so harmless. Like, recently, what did the local school did? They forked the yard.
To me, it's like,
They just stuck plastic forks all
Oh.
throughout the grass, like
Hmm.
hundreds and hundreds of them. So then somebody has to like.
I feel like
Go
there's
pick 'em
a
up.
fine line between like, for me, a prank that is like respectable and funny enough that I'm like, that's fun and harmless. And then there's this huge area that it's like, that's really bad. And then there's a certain point where you cross back over, and I'm like, that's really funny. Like,
Yeah.
the ones where they're like, they disassemble a full car and then like put it
Oh,
inside a gym,
yeah.
and it's like, that's so incredibly like extra for them to go do
This
that.
just the amount of effort and skill to
Yeah.
do that is like
that's,
you win.
That's my threshold. You cross
And,
that.
Yeah.
and like the skill and like
Yeah,
patience of it.
Having to put together a
that's a good
car.
one.
The planning of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a reverse heist.
Another one that pops in my head about that show is, and I learned something from it, was one time they had a school that had 2 floors, which I don't know anything
That's not
about.
possible.
Yeah, I don't-
Marceline, shout out
I-
Marceline.
Yeah, they did.
They had
Yeah,
they had
that's
two, they had 3 floors. They had a basement.
But oh yeah, the dungeon for the. Oh, it's not what it wasn't actually a dungeon, but
I mean, it might have been.
I don't know. It was a weight room.
It was an old school.
Out of context, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
It might have been a dungeon. I don't
was-
know.
I
But I don't
was
go to
thinking
that school
they called
anymore.
it the dungeon.
We called it the dungeon because it was like
But
dark
they
and
called
dirty.
They called it the tiger lair
Yeah.
I'm
because it
just
was like
saying,
a weight
But like,
room.
if you kept tigers there, you'd get arrested. The PETA would
Is that
beat
what
your
they're calling
ass.
them now? Tigers? That's what they're calling them?
They're called
Not buying
cubs.
that school.
They're called cubs.
Call that number. Call that number. Write that down.
Anyway,
I thought of one. Another one that comes to mind is they led a cow up to the 2nd floor
yeah, that's what I always think of.
That's
because the
totally
way a cow's legs are set up,
Mm-hmm.
it can go upstairs,
not
but
down.
it can't come down.
So you have to get like a crane.
Yeah, you have to like have an elaborate plan to get it back
I've
down
never
the
heard this
stairs.
in my life.
It's like bears.
That's
You know
what
if-
they claimed on the show. Was
I,
like
I believe you.
And I was
never
like-
heard that.
I was like, oh, that sucks. Like
Yeah.
clean up for that and like
Because
the-
kids wouldn't think about that.
yeah.
About
I
having
think-
to get it down would be a problem. They wouldn't even think
I
of
don't
that.
think I think they knew that. I think that's why they.
Then
led it
those
to the 2nd
kids
floor.
need their kneecaps beat.
I'm like, that's right on the threshold for me where I'm like, that's just like genius enough where you get the points. But
Yeah.
I'm like, also that's a for like all the staff, all of the administrators and faculty, like that sucks.
I think the best senior prank is you get a tarp. You find a designated section, either in the gym, the entrance of the school, cafeteria, somewhere in the corner, right? You guys off like 20 feet radius, right? You know, or diameter. It doesn't matter. In the corner, 20 feet in the different corner.
Yeah.
Maybe if you need that much space.
Okay.
Tarp.
Okay.
Maybe even like raised on the sides, on the edges of it, so it's raised up like an inch or so.
Okay.
Bunch of sand. Dump a bunch of sand. Make a little sand pile in the corner. Back the hill in the back corner, tapering down, so it doesn't, there's no spillage.
Okay.
Then you get umbrellas. You get towels. Everyone shows up in trunks and tank tops, and they have towels. They have sunscreen on their noses, sunglasses. Everyone, maybe some kids got floaties on.
Yeah.
Maybe you got like a little kiddie pool in there next to the sand. That's it. It's done. You clean it up.
Play some music.
You're
You have a
seniors. Who
barbecue
cares?
grill out the
Exactly.
door.
Exactly. That's the best
Bring a cooler
senior prank.
with a 6-pack of
Soda.
and
Beer with duct tape
okay.
over them that says soda on them.
We have a visitor. Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a super easy,
See,
innocent senior prank.
That's where I'm like, you're on the other side of the spectrum, where I'm like, that's respectful.
That's
that doesn't
very
bother me.
respectful.
Another one that I would like is people now just, I say people, like I've heard, they just do a lock-in. They just do a senior lock-in where they just stay at the school.
But we had
the
too
last
many of
day, and I'm
those.
like, that's cool.
We had too many of those on our own, just in
but
FCCLA and
we
stuff.
did it with such a small group, if you think about it. Like, it was just not that, it wasn't enough people to, like, even,
Lock-ins were always fun when you could get the janitor's keys, because then you can turn the lights off and you can play hide and seek.
That
And it's
I've never had this experience.
I've had that dozens of
No, we
times
did
as an
that.
experience.
You
We would go into the school, into the kitchen, and we would have a competition. All the guys would have a competition. Is this good to say? Maybe cut this out. Maybe. But
the editor.
I know. I'm telling myself
we're
that.
past the,
But I'm also asking
past
Trace.
13
No.
now.
Well, listen to what I'm gonna say.
Oh.
We would all, the
Whoa,
10 of us,
wait,
we get a bunch of guys, and we would all go into the freezer of the kitchen,
Oh, yeah,
and we would
yeah.
shut ourselves in.
I didn't know where you were
And
going.
because it wasn't one of those where it's like, oh, we're locked in. You could
Right.
just, it's
was
not a
all-
movie.
Yeah,
So like, we would all sit in there, and you would just see who could stand in there the longest.
Yeah.
I think that's
And
fine.
we'd try, and it would be, well, I just
But then,
got like
like-
food and stuff. Because the worst of it was like when you're in there, and like you're in there, and you're just like, all right, let's do it. And you just stand there. After a while, you start looking around,
Yeah.
and you start noticing like, this is all of our lunch is in here. It's all
You're
frozen.
oh,
You're like,
oh, there's the
you're like,
frozen
oh, that's,
patties.
you're like, that, I didn't know those were frozen.
Yeah.
Oh no! And then you're looking, you're like, oh, maybe
Yeah,
we
you're
should
seeing,
get
like,
out.
You've seen like fruit
Oops, sorry.
medley frozen, and
Oh.
you're like, can you do that?
Yeah.
Is that how this works?
That dead kid was in there that one time. We're like, wait a second, mystery meat Monday. I thought it would taste like a girl. It was a boy the whole time.
His name was Salisbury.
Somebody like